Hmm. So tell me a little bit about what we know about Nicolás Maduro. I know from what I've read, he draws a lot of his influence from his Cuban connections, his relationship with the Castro brothers. But what do we know about his worldview, and is he just a pure loyal Chavista who will keep everything as it was, or do you think there's sort of potential for him to shake things up, if and when his position ever gets a little more permanent?
Maduro is made up completely by Chavez. Maduro would not have any role were it not for Chavez. Maduro spent some time in Cuba, being trained by the Cubans before he became. Chavez has made of him president of the National Assembly at one time and foreign minister for the last 6 years. He was a sort of a labor leader in the transportation system of Caracas. That's where he emerged. But he is an apparatchik in the sense completely. His loyalty is exactly with Chavez. Amazingly, in these days, he's trying to compete with Chavez in a way that is becoming more radical and more vocal and more scandalous in his remarks about the Venezuelan people, the Venezuelan opposition, because he wants to prove that he's as tough or tougher than Chavez to the followers of another man who also aspires on the Chavez ranks, who is the president of the National Assembly, a former lieutenant, who is really a major threat to any political system, as he had proven in the past when he participated with Chavez in the 1992 coup. Maduro is a man that's been trained by the Cubans, is trusted by the Cubans, and was selected by the Cubans together with Chavez. This is a reality.
Hmm. But in terms of U.S. foreign policy, do you foresee any changes under Maduro? From what I read, there was a conversation between him and Roberta Jackson at the State Department in November. There's some conflict about what exactly they talked about. But do you think, if Chavez either died or it became clear that he was unable to continue, do you think there would be any potential for the relationship to become more normalized between the U.S. and Venezuela? Would you like to see any change in that relationship?
Where Chavez died, there would be an election, and then of course Maduro first would have to win the elections. But I mean, imagine that black scenario were he to win the election. He will not have the political power to do something like to restart full diplomatic relations with the United States. He will not be able to withstand the attacks that he will come from his own party that may consider him, as a softie. So, were he to become president, there will not be a change at all in that with respect to a closer relationship or normalization of a relationship with the United States. Maybe down the road, but I hardly believe that will be the case.
Hmm. But he does seem a bit less, well, I guess we haven't heard much from him yet, but in terms of rhetoric, he seems far less strident than Hugo Chavez. It's hard to imagine Maduro getting up in front of the UN, saying he smells sulfur when the last U.S. president was there, or, going on TV every week trying to bait Washington. He seems to, at least have a different kind of rhetorical style than Chavez did. Is that right?
Well, Josh, you're right. Chavez is a unique character. He is indeed a buffon, but people underestimate him for that. He's a very dangerous and smart buffon. Maduro will try to do he's already a poor and bad imitation of Chavez, who is quite a character. I believe that a government under Maduro will self-implode. I don't think we'll have the capacity to rule Venezuela because the number of promises and commitments made by Chavez to the people will be impossible to satisfy. And Chavez was able to satisfy them in a way because of his relationship with the people, which is actually extraordinary, especially to the lower sectors or lower income people in the country. Maduro doesn't have that touch. Maduro doesn't have the charisma. And Maduro is not smart enough as Chavez is to really manage a country that whose resources, even though are immense, the expenditures are even more immense even.